What's up, folks, and welcome to Life in Architecture. I'm your host, Daniel, and wanted to make a video here. I think the last video I recorded, I think I put it out, maybe it was at the end of July, maybe the beginning of August, and we're coming up on the last days of August here, as I made it a point to come out here, you know, in the morning here, right before sunrise, to catch the view of beautiful Lake Michigan, right on the shores of Chicago here. And I have quite a bit to talk about. So hope you bear with me here. Quite a bit to talk about. I guess I'll start it strong, you know, for the algo and talk about, so I'm going to talk about my perspective on the current state of the real estate market, you know, as a real estate investor that owns several properties. And I'm going to also get into some kind of somewhat of a little bit of a life update. And number three, I'm going to go into this very, very deep, obscure concept that I hope folks stay with me on. So, okay, so let's kick it off. I'm going to have to try to weave all these three things together, right? So, my perspective on the real estate market right now, as we speak, so the Federal Reserve, huge news, they're starting to cut interest rates, right? They're expecting to do maybe 2 or 3 cuts here in the next, you know, the last quarter, basically, of the year. We're going into quarter 4. And a lot of people that I'm talking to, a lot of prospective and potential buyers kind of have this common theme. And I think it comes from the media of, oh, home prices are way too high, and oh, interest rates are too high. And to a point, there's something to that, to a point for sure. However, having more than a decade of experience real estate investing, I understand that this environment is actually low-key, very ripe, very advantageous for the right kind of real estate investor. And I'm going to get into what that means here in a second, but I'm going to explain why. And I'm going to explain a little bit about what I did. So earlier this year, I purchased a 3-unit, and it was what they call value add, where cosmetically it just wasn't that great, but functionally, mechanically, it was in okay shape. Has a brand new roof, no huge structural issues, you know. So you want to look for these kinds of deals. I think it's a lot harder if you're new to the industry, but if you have 1 or 2 purchases under your belt, this is what I'm telling people, what I'm yelling to the mountaintop, what I'm yelling out to the lake here is, now's the time to buy, you know. And it feels like that a lot, right? Because people, 100% people are going to follow what they feel is the best for them. But I really feel like there is quite a bit of like just convoluted information out there that that kind of looks at the market in a negative way. So all that to say, you want to look for properties, if it's a single family home or it's, you know, multi-unit, 2-3 unit, that you could move into and slowly but surely do cosmetic work, meaning paint, all fixtures, all handles, all locks, brand new. These are things that don't cost a ton. Yes, they cost money, but they don't cost a ton. And the return you're going to get for folks that are in the rental market looking to rent, it's going to explode to those potential tenants. Like, to them, they're going to look at it and they're going to say, wow, this is luxury. Why am I going to stay paying $1,500, you know, in the near south side of Chicago for a 2-bed, 1-bath that's falling apart and barely functional, when I can move into something for $200 more a month, $300 more a month, that looks very much like a mid-tier hotel or a mid-tier Airbnb. You don't have to be elegant, and you know, that's another trap, is you don't want to go too luxury with the finishes or with the construction. So that's my take. There are a ton of homes, a ton of properties where folks are very scared, and fittingly so, because there is a lot that goes into getting contractors. Personally, I do not do most of the work on my stuff. But there's a way to do it, right? You know, you use Yelp, you ask friends of a friends, and for the most part, you know, my kind of compass for contractors in the next couple of weeks, in the next years, like for the rest of the time that I'm real estate investing, is the contractor, I need to know them for at least like 2 or 3 years and have done work with them, or else they need to really have maybe 2 or 3 dozen reviews on Yelp or on Google, and they have to be like above 4 stars. Because there's a ton of people, there's a ton of contractors that are willing to do great work at a reasonable price. You just got to find them, right? And Yelp is a great resource. You can even bid it out. So that's my philosophy. And right now, all this to say, you want to get in right now because there is that uncertainty in the market. As soon as the rates come down, maybe 0.5%, 1%, I would say by this time next year, if we're down 1.5 or 2%, which probably won't happen unless something catastrophic happens, there's going to be a frenzy into real estate. And, you know, I could be wrong. So you never want to count on appreciation. It's always a great cherry on top. But, you know, 3 to 5% has been the rate across most big cities. It has been in Chicago for the last 100 years. So it's something you can kind of reasonably bank on. Okay, so that's my take. I think it is a great time. It's not to go gangbusters and go and like submit full asking. You want to really, you know, do your due diligence, see what properties are selling for, get your comps, understand what they're going to rent for when the renovation is complete, and never get into a deal if it will not cash flow. Minimum, my criteria is it has to give $200 above all of your expenses, and that's for maintenance and for tenant turnover. So you want to have at least a little bit of cash flow, right? Okay, so that's real estate. Kind of a life update is yesterday was actually the first day for a construction management program that I started at COD, and I'm super excited about it. I can't say enough about it. I really feel like it's my next play, and I just feel a sense of like this is where I belong. These are the things that I belong learning about, talking about, and the problems that I am on this earth to solve, which is construction, which will inevitably, if you follow me long enough, will lead to me being a developer, which in a lot of instances, I'm kind of a small to mid-scale developer already. So that's real estate. So now for the OG folks that stayed for the entire video, I'm going to leave you with something pretty obscure. And feel free to drop me some comments and let me know, if you feel this, or if you just cannot, and this is like way out of left field. Feel free to let me know. Feel free to say like, dude, what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so here's the concept. What I've noticed in life, especially as I've gotten older, is this crazy thing. that most, like 99% of people, are in a flywheel. Bzzz, in a flywheel of the same patterns, the same routine, the same thoughts. And most people, I would say, over 80 to 90% of those people, and I'm one of those, are not aware. They're not aware of it most of the time. So, what are some practical solutions, right, that I could give? Because, like I said, this is me being an observer of life, being an observer of my life, of lives of people around me. This is not some like pie in the sky. I wasn't born with money. I was born and raised in a little village. For those who don't know, we're on the southwest side of the city. This ain't a pie in the sky thing. What I propose to you that is essential to break out of the flywheel. Number one is find your passion in life. And if you don't know, it's okay. Most people don't know their passion in life. Most people are still exploring. Live the question. Ask yourself. Put a Google reminder every week. What is my passion? Look up videos. How to figure out what my passion is in life. And then get involved. When you research that, put it into practice as soon as possible. Volunteer places. If you just love giving, unselfishly, you want to work at a soup kitchen, volunteer. And maybe, guess what? Maybe that'll lead to you making your own organization where you're feeding more people or where you're housing people, and you're able to gainfully make something of it and sustainably be able to take care of yourself and a lot of people, right? So it's just top of my head. Not really, that's not my passion. My passion, as y'all know, is architecture and providing beautiful spaces for people at a reasonable price. That's a long tagline, and it's evolved a lot. So that's number one, is find your passion. Number two is make time for little breaks like this, even in the week, to come out here and notice how the waves are just very calmly streaming along. There's no waves. There's a little hint of traffic and the beautiful skyline. Take time to get out. If you haven't gotten out and you live next to a major attraction, which most people do, make the time. If you haven't been out this summer, the summer's almost gone. A couple of weeks, kids are back in school. The summer's a wrap. So if you haven't gone out, what better of a chance than now to take that initiative, right? So go out, meditate, go out into nature, enjoy these beautiful spaces, plan a trip, even if it's low budget, And number three, in most things you do, try to focus around community, building community, recognizing, looking for opportunities to build win-win scenarios with people, and screen out these dynamics where you're not winning and somebody else is winning, or a group of people are winning, win-lose, or where you're winning and other people are not. So this is very tricky, very, 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 very tricky to parse out, right? What's what. But I just wanted to kind of throw this out there. You guys let me know in the comments if I'm way off base. I probably talked, 4 or 5 more minutes more than I wanted to, but it's really important, and I'll continue to talk about this a little more in different ways as as I progress in my journey of being a developer, a real estate developer. So that's about it. I'll leave you from Lake Michigan. Coming very, very soon, now that the weather's cooling down for your boy, coming very soon is a walk through Oak Park and and Unity Temple, where this all began. So stay tuned. Hope y'all are getting after it, making your dreams happen. I will leave you from scenic, peaceful Sunrise, Chicago.